like I said, Nicole's not gonna be here, and, Dennis will probably walk in a little bit late. And for y'all that, hadn't met Chance Naren, the new, city attorney is here, so.
Good to be here.
Hi, I'm
Bill.
Stacy. I'm
Stacy.
District 3, Alderman.
Nice to meet you,
Nice
Stacy.
to meet you.
And he'll be here at all our meetings in the future. Let's see. First thing on these, Doc, these are just real informal meetings, this is, so, we'll just go ahead and let you be first. And, Dr. Wright wanted to address, the mayor and board of aldermen regarding a health concern that he has for Springhill. And, we told him he sure could. He said he limited it to like 10 minutes, so, just go ahead, Doc.
Or less. Okay, I appreciate you letting me speak to you all. For you, those of you who don't know me, I've been a resident for over 20 years. I'm a retired colonel in the Marine Corps and the Air Force, and I'm also a medical doctor. Worked here at Springhill for about a year and a half before I left. And I like to be active in the community, but I'm usually gone. I wanted to discuss two health items. The first is the garbage trucks that leak. And this shouldn't take us long to really look at, and then for you to figure out what to do about it, okay? The trucks leak fluid and solid particles when they drive up, and then they stop in front of a house. It's enough to stain the roads as the pictures show. If you take a look at these first pictures, those are stains from the truck. The top picture is actually in front of my house. There's 3 different stains from 3 different weeks. Okay. Why is it important? Well, it's filthy garbage that's being siphoned down through the bottom of their truck. There's bacteria that grows. You've got kids that are riding bicycles. Everything else is just wrong. Okay. What's the solution? To call the company and have the trucks fixed. What's the stick? I imagine that there's, and I would have to go look, but the Louisiana Administrative Code for Environmental Quality is 180 pages. I haven't had time to read it on this particular subject, but I'm going to be pretty sure there's something in there that they have to abide by. If you need help in figuring that part out, I'll do that sometime, okay? I brought this up about 9 months ago, very informally, to the city, and didn't get any response. Okay.
I didn't know.
You didn't know it.
Oh, okay.
You're exactly correct. It was mentioned to someone in your office. And like I say, I come and I go all the time, and we're getting back to that season where it's really bad.
I talked to Leslie, not to interrupt you,
Sure.
right, but I talked to Leslie about this because I had somebody in my district complain about it also, besides Dr. Wright talking about it. And he said, well, we've got screens in there, it's supposed to flush out, but I understand what Dr. Wright's saying is this is fluid that carries a lot of other stuff, and he's not the only one that's complained about, and I'm sure you probably heard of Mike and
Yeah,
everybody else too, so.
Yeah.
But I did talk to Leslie, and she said, and then the paint issue, which in the picture here, I can see where there was paint, and then 10th Street had blue paint or purple paint or something at one time, and they don't know. They put them in the bags and they throw them away. They're not supposed to put paint in there, and it messes up their screens. That gets all that out. But we have that problem. This is our trash people, but Republic does the same out there at the hospital. We have to get on to those guys out there, and they've had to come out and clean it up several times. So just know that.
So what did Leslie tell you?
She said that they have screens, it's supposed to screen out filter out anything that goes out, but you're still gonna have, it still has a smell to it when it's hot, and it's still gonna have a lot of bacteria in it, so.
Correct. If there's an odor, there's bacteria. Okay? This is not just, I just happen to take a picture in front of my house. You drive around North Acres, and that's just where I drive most of the time. You can go on any given street and just look at the house. It'll be at this one and not the next, depending on the topography. Okay, whether it was going up or downhill, it'll cut across. It's significant. It truly is.
And I can't remember if we had that issue when we had the other trash people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's.
I think it's when they compact the
garbage.
Yeah, they're compacting it, seems like about every other house.
You know, the last time I got involved in a project like this was 2004, 2005, when I was first here. And I was asked to go as a new doctor to all the businesses in the schools. And I showed up to the middle school early, used one of the restrooms and couldn't wash my hands because they had no water turned on. Went to the next restroom, no water turned on.
I remember that.
You do remember that, because I went back, went to the high school, found out the toilets were shut off. For a person to have a bowel movement, they had to either wake a student or go home. So Mr. Ponte, CEO, within 2 days, had all the waters turned back on. And within 2 years, with Derek's and some of y'all's help, got a whole new school district that was set up and done. This is not that bad, but this is still bad.
Yeah, and Dr. Wright, I'm not trying to rush you, but me and the mayor have another meeting coming up that we gotta get to, so.
Okay,
That's great that you got that fixed at the school.
that's good. It took me 1 minute to discuss that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The second is a little bit more severe, is burning within the city limits and poses two problems. One is a health problem for people with COPD and asthma. And again, I asked over 2 years ago, I believe it was, of why we allowed burning in the city when it was against our ordinances. And we can get into that discussion later if you want. It's a violation, as far as I can tell, of LAC 33.3.1109, LA Environmental Regulatory Code. Open burning within city limits is prohibited. Local governments can be more strict, but not less. Okay, that's the first concern I have. I used to have phone calls from older people saying, Dr. Wright, what do I do? There's smoke in my house and I've got COPD. Call me, take this medicine, you have it at home, take this medicine if you need 911 emergency room. We shouldn't be doing that. The second concern is the risk of fires. If you take the picture paper and go to this side of it. The bottom picture is me pointing from a 300-foot mountaintop. I'm pointing at my house, which is surrounded by about 15 other houses that you can't see. The top picture is less than 1 month later, after I told the community of their fire risk. There is one house remaining there. That's my house, because I'm the only one that took action. The rest of them were lost to a fire. My concern, as well as the health, is what are our fire risks in this community? Okay, embers from a fire travel up to 1 mile. If you take a look at this map that I've provided you, I'm gonna hold it up like this. The center ring, in the very center, is where we're sitting right now. The radius on that circle is 1 mile. If you have a fire created by allowing burning 1 block away from here, the embers can travel that distance. The circle up here in this corner is North Acres, where I live, which there's fires being burnt all the time, okay? And the one in the south, I just drew that for the center is International Paper. Just some references for sites, okay? Embers go 1 mile. If you have your pine trees, the fires go from crown to crown. That's the way they do on pine trees. And shower 1 mile away. What are your fire capabilities? And I just asked that. I won't, since we're in time constraints, you can read down my list there. How many fire departments? What are the fire trucks? Are they volunteers or are they trained? Et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Why are we allowing burning? Do we have a variance to allow that? I don't even think that that's allowed by Title 33. So I would ask that question and maybe you can't answer that. So for time constraints, and I can stay as long as you want, because we're talking about lives here.
I agree with you.
I'm just pointing it out,
No, I appreciate it, too.
and I'll be glad to come back. I don't think you should allow burning. You don't have the firefighting capabilities. I've already lived through this personally, and I'm on several boards to fight this kind of thing, including National Coalition and Collaborative. It's a national-wide organization that I'm qualified and certified to write preventive mitigation plans, which I'm sure Springhill doesn't have. That's all I had, Mayor, unless you all have questions, and I'd be glad to make myself available.
No, I appreciate you doing it. We tried to narrow that down to once a quarter for one little week. But, like you say, you know, all the damage in the world can be done during that one little week.
Do we have a variance for it? Or how did we come up with that? I guess I would ask that quickly.
Well, we've always done it during the cleanup.
We've allowed it during that, every quarter, we allow 1 week where people can bring their stuff they wanna throw away and get out of the yard, they can bring to our yard, and we'll haul it off for them.
Yep.
But then also during that week, we've allowed them to burn leaves and stuff in their backyard, because they're all complain about that we can't burn, we can't burn.
And there's a reason they can't, excuse me for interrupting, man, there's a reason they can't burn. They live in a city. I burn, I take my stuff out to the person who lives in the country. And they're also burning, in addition to leaves and limbs, they're burning garbage, which is specifically prohibited in Title 32.
Oh, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're doing everything they can. Well, all I know is that I'll bring it to the council again,
Okay.
because it'll be up to them to vote on whether to disband it completely. And we'll do it. And we'll do it at a work session first, and then we'll vote. That'll be in the month of,
I guess I would ask the lawyer to take a look at if it's legal and what variances, because I will probably push back against it.
It's whatever.
Against allowing burning in the city,
right.
unless you have a legal permit. I think it's wrong for several reasons,
Yeah,
as I've listed, and they're serious reasons.
Yeah, I agree, I think you're right. I'll bring it to them. Because
Yes, sir.
They're the ones that vote. So
I appreciate that.
I'll bring it to them.
I'll look into it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll keep you up to date.
Okay, may I stay for the rest of the meeting?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Dan. Hey, man. Okay, next item is discuss, purchasing of equipment for the Springhill wastewater treatment plant. Mike's gonna talk about that. We decided we don't have to do that, right?
Yeah, I wanna save some money for a while, the way to do it when we do the plant, when we got the money from the grants and the program that's gonna help fix that plant, I'll just do it then. It's a very essential piece of equipment that we need, but we're not able to use it right now because of the way the plant's being operated. But when we get the plant up and going, we are gonna need it, and I'll just get it installed and purchased then.
He thought he was gonna have to do it now, but after talking to the engineer, we decided we could wait.
Wait till we can do it.
You have to come back.
No, I hope not. Right now, it's about 8 weeks out to get it.
So we won't have to, that'll be in the grant.
Probably.
So we'll pass on that. Next, is Mike's gonna discuss the emergency repair that I emailed y'all about on North Arkansas Street down by McDonald's.
What we have is a manhole that the city sewer runs down through. Unfortunately, our sewer runs right down 371, the main does. And there's a manhole on it that has collapsed from the inside. It's falling in. It's caused, right now, it's got about that far below the surface in the highway. And my concern with that is that somebody running into it, tearing up a vehicle or causing an accident, and us being liable for it.
We've already got one report on
And I contacted the contractor, got the equipment ordered, got the supplies ordered. The holdup we have right now is getting a company to come in and shut down the highway. And the reason it's a state highway, 371, and the attorney can kind of vouch for some of this probably. If we shut it down and an accident occurs, the city's liable. And I don't want that liability or responsibility on the city. If the contractor shuts it down and does the same, he's liable. But there are companies out there now that assume all liability. They come in with their equipment, they shut the road down per DOTD state specs, the whole 9 yards, and if something happens, it's on them and
Has
not
to be
us.
certain kind of signage, certain kind of lighting, all that.
You know, they're the same reason, they don't want liability. I've had very lengthy conversations with them. Cause I wanted to do something temporarily for now to keep somebody from running over, but they can't for that very reason.
Signs and the lighting is how much?
About $7,500, just that by itself, because
The lawsuit could be.
even worse.
Yeah.
And what you gotta do, after we do the work, we're required to put concrete back in there, and you gotta let that sit for 7 days before anybody can drive over it. So it's gonna be shut down 2 to 3 weeks in that section.
Are we gonna be responsible for all this, or is the state gonna are they gonna do the concrete?
No, it's all on us, because it's our sewer there. and
We're
it's
the
our-
cause of it.
It's our problem, our
Why
responsibility.
all our sewers run under the,
Isn't that something?
So, I got everybody lined up. The reason we haven't started yet is because the barricade company can't do it until Monday. The 14th is when they can come down and shut the road down. The signage that you have to have for this, that they have is tied up somewhere, and it'll be available starting Monday. So starting Monday,
14, yeah.
it's gonna start being,
Right-hand lane.
it's, the right-hand lane.
And, I just.
Yeah.
Hope
Is the
that's not-
southbound lane inside or outside lane?
Outside,
Outside.
right in front of McDonald's, just right in front of their park. Or between them and Livingston, right in that area.
Fixed before.
That was a sewer, but that was fixed for McDonald's. Their service caused that, and they paid for
They
that.
paid for that.
But this is up about 100 feet from there, right there from the hotel.
This is
What's the
another
time
case.
span we're looking at? 3 weeks.
3 weeks, road being shut down, 2 to 3 weeks. If I can pull it any sooner, I will, but I'm being told 2 to 3 weeks at the moment.
It's another case of dilapidated sewers.
Well, you'll still have one lane.
Yeah,
Just the, yeah, you're just shutting down the outside lane, not the inside lane.
and it'll probably be shut down
Well,
with
the thing's in the middle of the road,
It's in the middle of the right-hand lane.
in the middle of the right.
You still got the left-hand lane.
Right-hand side of the southbound lane. Right there by the hotel.
That's why I was asking which lane it was, cause I knew it was gonna shut down both of them.
It'll just be one lane for a couple 100 feet, and then you can be on your main, or you can just hit the South Park Drive around it, you know?
Nothing different than they do over in Shreveport.
No, I mean, I hate it, it's gonna be inconvenient, y'all gonna get phone calls, people gonna be upset, but it's the best way to do it, and be safe, and take the liability off of us.
well, I mean, but we're still exposed to liability for the next 4 days until Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, does the city have anything in place right now? What is the minimum amount of roadway you could shut down in order to make sure nobody gets into a wreck?
We're not
Shut
allowed to
down
do
either.
anything on the state highway.
You can't shut it down
No.
without getting state approval.
DOTD will throw a walleye fit.
Yeah.
Okay.
We used to
As
do
long
that,
as-
Cause there's been times that I've done it and I said, if they wanna throw a fit, I'll throw a fit.
Right.
and when it rains and get high water, we'll go put high water signs out, and they threw a fit about us doing that, come up here and got me and Will Bogan.
And you have in writing contacted the state to let them know the issue with the road, and they have refused to do anything about it?
Yeah, I talked to the man today, and he says, I said, can you come and do something temporary? I said, I don't have any kind of equipment to do it.
But
He
you
says,
do,
no, I can't do it overnight. They can do it during the day.
Mike, you got documentation of that though?
I got the mayor sitting beside me, I heard on the phone with him.
If you can,
Maybe shoot a couple emails.
yeah, shoot an email tomorrow just to make sure, cause, I mean, if the city is not allowed to make any alterations or shut down any lanes on the state highway, you need to at least have something in writing to show that we did let the state know of this issue. So that way, if there is a wreck because of the sewers line that has crashed, we've got pretty good arguments that we did everything we could that we were legally allowed to do, which may, save you a considerable amount of any sort of repair costs.
I can get him to send me an email saying that they're not allowed to do it.
Yeah, that's, whatever decision the state makes is fine, just as long as we made all the right decisions leading up to their 4-1.
okay, good idea.
I can do that.
Okay, that's all you had. As far as other projects, going on, Chance has been involved with this, the splash pad project over here. Where people are asking, why isn't it, what's wrong, why isn't it working, But, we are dealing with the bonding company now. Did you write them a letter?
So I've reached out to the adjuster who, worked for Liberty Mutual on the bond. She wrote us a letter shortly before, y'all hired me. She wrote a letter closing down the claim. I've reached out to her to discuss possibly opening it back up. She sent a list of information that she was requested, I think that originally went to Nelson. And we'll see if she opens the bond back up. Or at least the claim on the bond back up. I think what you are ultimately facing is, at least what her letter said on the 31st, there seems to be, according to her, a legitimate issue as to whether or not the contract was completed. And so, since, the guy from Elite Spa and Pools is claiming, I believe his name's Derek. Yeah, Derek's claiming that he reached substantial completion. Obviously, we have a different stance, And so at this point in time, I don't know that she's going to reach a point where she releases the bond that's taken out against the project. So, we'll see though, I'm gonna try to get it opened back up. On the litigation side involving Derek, I looked up today, he did file a lien. I'm gonna have to pull that lien over the next couple of days to make sure they did it correctly. If you didn't, we'll take an attempt to get the lien pulled off the property. Other than that, you're staring down pretty much one of two options. You can sit and wait, well, three options. You can sit and wait until Derek sues for the rest of his money, which he has already threatened but hasn't taken steps to do. You could consider suing him for specific performance, forcing him to finish the job under the contract, or you can sit around and consider hiring somebody else to finish the project, which under the law, if you were successful in a lawsuit against Derek, you'd be entitled to basically compensate the city for the money it paid in order to finish the project. But in order to get the project finished, you're gonna have to take one of those three options.
I'd rather get somebody else to finish it.
It's gonna drag out if we have a lawsuit on it. If we have somebody else.
It won't be,
No question.
it won't be used this summer.
Yeah, it could be a couple of years.
It's possible. Now, how quickly it moves, you know, there's no real way to put a time limit on it, but it could possibly drag out a couple of years. So if you're interested in finishing it as soon as possible, then something for the council to consider would be hiring somebody else to finish it, or sit down with Derek to see if he's willing to finish it. Short of that, I would imagine the bond issue is probably not going to solve itself until after there's some decision made as to whether or not Derek completed the job under the terms of the contract.
How much does it like being through?
A lot. And they got no water.
It's a LCDBG grant, so I'm not sure,
And I'm gonna be
you know,
honest,
without the state coming in and John talking to the state to see what.
John had to be.
And there's a lot of things with the work that he's done that is horrible, it ain't good, it's bad.
How did the bonding company close the claim with it in this situation? Did John drop the ball, did Nelson drop it, who dropped the ball?
I can't be for sure until Ms. Swallow reaches back out to me. I've reached back out to her, like I said, I've called her and I've sent her an email, and I will continue to do so until I hear from her. But until I get more information from her as to exactly why it was closed, basically the only thing her letter said was there seems to be a legitimate dispute under the contract is what.
Chances just got thrown into this, so he's just now getting involved in it.
Legally, if the city goes ahead and spends the money on their own and fixes it, can they recoup that money back?
It's possible. It's still, ultimately, it's gonna hinge upon some decision that's made as to whether or not Derek completed what he was supposed to under the contract. Ultimately, if the courts were to decide that he did not, then the city would be in a position to recoup that cost. Yes, now, whether or not he has the money, all that other stuff, no telling. But I will say this, even if we do end up in the lawsuit route, whether it's his lawsuit or ours, you're probably more than likely gonna need some estimate by some third-party company to tell you how much it's gonna cost to fix it and get it into operational order. So if you wanna go ahead and do that, just so that you have more information when weighing your options, you're ultimately probably gonna need that anyway.
Alright,
Did
We'll
they
do
go
that.
right through the bid process?
I don't think so.
I would say not necessarily bid process at this time, because the first question that you have to answer is the general amount of money it's gonna cost to fix it and get it operational. So if you're just calling somebody in for an estimate, I mean, you just pay their hourly rate to make the estimate, and then if you decide you wanna go the route of hiring a third company to come in and fix and get it operational, then you open up the public bidding process at that time. But I would say for just an estimate, not gonna hurt to hire somebody to come in just to look and say it's probably gonna cost you in this ballpark.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the work you've done on it so far too. That's all we had as far as updating y'all on things that are going on. And Monday night, we'll also have 4, resolutions, and these are resolutions we have to approve every year for the LCDBG program. If we wanna continue to get those grants, we have to, get these 4 resolutions approved. That's all that is, that's a yearly thing that we have to do. Other than that, that's all I have.
Can I ask, is Rex back on the job now? Doing okay, good.
Yeah, he's been talking to me every day about stuff.
I had about probably 10, maybe 12 court cases.
Yeah,
At least.
I called him on a couple of things and he was like, right on it, so.
Me too.
Yeah, he's good about checking stuff out for you. doing a real good job. Sure. All right, well, I don't have